Hello and welcome to this video brought to you by Lewis Art. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Emmanuel Okafo. In this tutorial, we're looking at Pupa. So what's Pupa? Pupa is basically an animation tool system in Blender that assists you with working with motion capture data in a big project. Or if you need to reuse a lot of things, if you need to create quick rigs. This is the go-to. It provides a lot of utility tools for all of that. In this tutorial, based off request and a couple of questions I've gotten of the recent, I wanted to go in depth with retargeting features. So if I know this will not be for everyone, especially if you've not purchased the tool, but if you're curious, you can just sit along us, you sit beside us and kind of see what is happening here. I am going to restart the scene because I've created something. I was doing some tests to make sure it's ready. Okay, what we have here is a simple character with a custom built rig. I built this using Blender's Armature, though you can rig yours automatically with Pupa. But I wanted to give an example for a situation where you have your own custom rig and you want to kind of use it in conjunction with some motion capture data. So we have this and we want to set it up. By default, the animations that come with Pupa, which you can see here, we have them in different categories and a lot of animations, more than 800. I just downloaded the entire library. But you can also use your custom one. So we're going to be doing two parts. The first part rigging it with Mixamo, and the second part rigging it with, I probably move AI since I have a lot of motion capture data recorded there. So for Mixamo, we need Mixamo files. So you could go to Mixamo's site, mixamo.com, to get it, or you could just use from Pupa's library. We've not set it up, but we can just click on preview. It's going to not really work. For some reason, it's recognizing the name, since this probably has the same naming convention as Rigify, so that's why. But what we need from this is to steal this armature from it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel it. So it's going to remove everything, but we have gotten this armature from it. So I'm going to call this Mixamo. Okay, so it's here somewhere. We just need to scale it up, and we should have it. We can place it right here. So if we play the animation, we can see what's happening. I'm just bringing up the timeline. You're not going to see any keyframe because the keyframes are located here in the non-linear animation. Okay. So we have this simple animation and we want to use this as a reference to be able to just quickly set up the retargeting. The retargeting of Pupa is like, I think it's one of the most simple retargeting system you'll find with Blender. It's very forgiving to so many things like the scale, like the naming, the hierarchy. It really doesn't care about that so much. So let's get started. Here in the retargeting panel, you want to get the eyedrop tool, select the source, and for the target rig, you want to select the target rig, which is your custom rig. It recognizes a couple of rigs like Mixamo. Yeah, that's all the source rig it recognizes. But for the target, it recognizes Rigify and Auto Rig Pro, which was what we used to set it up. So the next is just once you have this inputted, then you can click on generate. It generates this list for you, and since it recognizes Mixamo, we can see it inputted the name. This is practically useless for the most part, especially at least for my workflow, because you won't get me or catch me kind of naming it. I'm very lazy for that. So yeah, since this is built for me, I kind of built it to solve a problem for myself. I made it as easy as it can, as easy as it can be in setting up the rig. So what you want to do is select the two rigs which you want to retarget, and here in pose mode. Here for the naming, you can see that we have an existing item which we need to fill up. So we have the source and target. For the source, it's always going to be the Mixamo with the animation, and for the target is your custom rig or like a defined rig. The first thing it's asking you for is this icon H, and you can also see it here, and it basically means select heap bones. By heap bone, it means the global bone that will move it. Ideally, you want to select it around the mass center of gravity, which is around the heap area. So the bone should be able to move the entire character. And we also have that for this guy right here. So for this, we have the name as mixamo rig.heap. So we can have that here. And for this, we have it named as bone. So we set that as bone. So I'm going to save. And it also reflects here, so that's not really important. Next is to add the rest of the name. So it's as easy as selecting the two bones that you want to associate with each other and just click on this plus icon, and that's that. It inputs the name automatically for you. So we'll grab this. And there you go. And it's also smart that it recognizes if you've added a bone already, so you don't have to write it 2 times. Let's go with the hips. We already have the hips. Next is the spine. So we can see our rig is drastically different from this. So let's use this as the spine, and that. And for the chest, so we're gonna skip this. Probably we can use this as the chest bone. And okay. So we have that. We're going to skip this. For the shoulder, we're going to add this here. Add this. Like I said, the hierarchy doesn't matter. You can basically input them as you like, and it's pretty fast. The one that tends to take longer is just basically when you have to input fingers, but apart from that, it's pretty straightforward. And we have 2 more to go. And finally, the head. Okay, so once you have that, you can go ahead and export your list. And you can always, like for example, if I delete all of this, I can go ahead and import that list again. So it makes it easier for you if you like, this is built for a project, so you can really set things up to always fall back. If you create a new rig that is kind of the same, you can easily fall back and make things lot of changes. So now we click on preview retarget. Like you can see, it works, but it's just looking all wonky and twisted. So that's the cost of how easy it is to set up. You kind of have to do extra like tweaking, which is something you just do once. After you've done it one time, you're good. Yeah, so at this point you can go ahead and kind of go in here, get a particular bone, let's say the head. Usually you just want to rotate it to 180, so it's like those degrees. So 180, 90, 360, negative 180, negative 90. Those are what you'll be playing with for the most part, and it's just on the y-axis, local y-axis. So let's say. So if you select each bone, it automatically cycles to the part you need to tweak. Okay, so this is just the only tricky part. But I mean, you can actually just skip this part and go ahead to save this. So this is the save. So we can call this tot makes custom rig. Okay, and then this can get confusing, which is something I would definitely change in the next update. For the next update, I'm just waiting for the 4.0 to be released, since I don't want to kind of have to redo certain feature, especially with the projected API change from the Blender Studio, Blender Foundation. So I'm just kind of watching to see them make their move, then I'll make mine. So So it asks you for target top bone. So top bone, or at least the most top bone in your most character, is the head bone. So you just input the head. The most bottom bone is one of the feet. So you can just put any of the feet. So I'm gonna put foot underscore L. Source. So you basically repeating the same thing for the source. Why do you have to do this? Ideally, the idea behind this is just to get some information right off the back, since the system is built to be open to admit a lot of different type of rigs and animation. We wanted to still have some predictability with it, so we collect some information here. So that's basically what's happening. So we'll get foot. This helps us basically use from the head to the foot. We can match the scale roughly of your character at its given time. Neck, this is used for the preview mode, so we can use that information to easily allow you quickly rotate stuff. I'll be showing you that later. So arm, let's go L, arm, and then finally we do for the shoulders, and we hit OK, and that's that. Also here you can, like, if you make all these changes, you can export them too. So this is built for production with a lot of utilities for troubleshooting, storing data for backups. So just a lot of things that will really assist you work in a large scale, or at least for a long time, for more consistency and control mostly. Okay, so if we go to the rig target preset, we can see we have tutorial underscore. This is the one. I did this earlier, so we can delete that. So this is the guy we're looking for. And at this point, we can either hide or delete this. Doesn't matter. So now we have our preset. We can select preview. So basically now you can import any type of Mixamo and it should recognize it. That's what it promised you. So the reason why I prefer to fix things here is because it's like any changes I make here, I know it's going to work in the preview mode, because with certain ideology, the animation engine that runs the animation and the retargeting are somewhat the same, but sometimes we get some little degrees of rotation mishap. So sometimes, just to be safe, I kind of do it here. Yeah, so at this point, like I mentioned, we'll just fix everything. So you go through it, adjust things as needed. So like I mentioned, it's just rotating things 90 degrees. And I will show you another reason why I would prefer to make the changes here. Basically, I can cycle through different animations to test out the posing and make sure it looks very natural for all cases. So for this, we want to rotate it on the x-axis. Give it like 50 degrees. Okay. Once you make a change and you want to kind of store it, you can come here. So we have update the retargeter. So it's going to update the settings for this. So if we cancel this and preview, we can see all the changes have stopped. You can do a lot of troubleshooting with different animations to kind of see how they're fitting. So we can go in and just tweaking it. And like I mentioned, you just have to do this one time. And once you have that set up, you don't have to do it ever again. So I will save that, cancel. So let's try for another one. So as you can see, it works. I should have played the animation. And because we collected all this information, so I can come here, play with the arm space, and so all this information we collected makes it easy for you to come and play with this all these tweak features. Um, that kind of make your life easier. You can also control the position of the object in the scene anytime. So depending on what you need. Let's do climbing. So there's something weird with the shoulder, so let's fix that. So like I mentioned, is you can just go ahead and tweak it like that. And after you make any changes, you update it, you could duplicate it, rename it. And that's that for the Mixamo one. So let's um, make another example. One thing you will notice when working with Mixamo, which is something I didn't realize till I started using Pupa, or at least working on Pupa, was it has two. There are actually two type of Mixamo rig, which is male and female rig. So for some system, for some reason, it plays the male rig. So and for some, it lets you download the female rig. So once you make those changes, if you do the changes in the male one, it might when you now apply the female rig, it's going to look weird. So what I do for that, which I did in the next update, where all those discrepancies will be addressed, so that you don't have to create multiple versions. So what I'm going to do now is duplicate this, and so we're working on the copy, and we preview this. I'm going to rename this to rig custom XML, if I'm getting the name right. Anyway, custom rig mixed, okay? And like you did before, we are just kind of adjusting this. We're just adjusting this to kind of fit it. So you can have, if you're going to be working, you can determine the one that works with your system. And then, yeah, so that was just like a heads up. And finally, before we go, let's do for a more custom rig. I'm just signing into my Move AI. I have a lot of projects going on here. So with custom rigs, you obviously cannot save them here in our in the animation preview, but you can import them, which the workflow will be doing now. Let's see the result. You don't see me dancing. Okay. Actually, this is like based off Mixamo, so we can actually use this to test things. I'm just downloading that. We're going to open that in another file. Okay. Just going to tweak the motion captured data just so it fits in the scene nicely. And we want it to start from this frame. Okay, and then I can go ahead and export this. So here in the scene, we already have it. So that's also a mixamo file. So I'm going to set it to the initial one, which we did import. Import our mixamo. You can, if you have that, you can tweak this. So I suspect this is using the male version or female version, one of them. And so that's why. So it's just a matter of having a preset. If we use that preset which we started working on, which is this one. Yeah. So it's just tweaking this and you should have a preset. Yeah, I think probably no need to go over another one, but it's just the whole deal. You kind of set it up. It's easy to kind of have things going, and you just need to adjust certain regions, which once you do it one time, you're good. Um, but for rigs like Rigify and Auto Rig, it works great. So let's. So for rigs like Auto Rig, it got by default. You don't have to um, do any setup. It should just work automatically for you. Okay, so we have a Rigify here. And move this ground plane. So I take with Move AI, you can kind of retarget the animation onto a Mixamo rig. If you don't know what Move AI is, it's a very interesting tool that allows you use multiple camera angles to generate animations. But for this, it's set up good by default. Sometimes you just need to disable the hip. But yeah, you get that animation by default. So you can really set up a nice project. So if you're getting stuff like this, you can always go in, tweak it, so that for any character you're going to be working with this, you can work it. And you also have, you can just work with the default animations for some scenes that you don't want to bother about. So that'll be it for this tutorial. I hope this was informative. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you wish to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. And if you have any particular questions, you can either email me or leave a comment. Oh yeah. So bye bye for now. By the way, we have a Discord. You can join. So one of the requests came through the Discord. So if you want to kind of have a more direct access, you can use the Discord to join the community. That'll be it. Bye bye for now. See you next time.